Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for this episode 13 here on BallySpring with me, Farmer Murphy. Well, as usual, we're starting up here at our main farm. There is not a lot to report up here as far as changes go. I can say that Hannah, our pooch, there you go, uh, she made an appearance here the other day and came and hung around up here for quite a while. And now she's wandered off again, but she does come and clean out her bowl every once in a while. I don't know why she comes and goes, but there must be some issue with the game. But I actually did see her. The only other change up here is I have filled the fuel tank with fuel. And I actually filled all three fuel tanks at all three farms. So we have fuel at every farm. They only hold 2,000 liters, so that wasn't a big expense. Okay, I'm going to jump in the Kubota here and let's head down to the cow farm and talk about what went on down there. So I'll catch up with you there. Well, you can see I changed my mind as usual. We're at the dairy here. I decided we'd go to the dairy pig farm and finish up at the cow farm. So there's a couple things to take note of up here. One is that we now own the land the dairy is sitting on. We could buy that because it's adjacent to the road, as you can see, and we own all the roads. The roads cost nothing, part of the verges, and obviously the roads are adjacent to our land as well, so we're contravening any rules by buying it, and we owned it on the other map as well. But we didn't get the land with the dairy, and had no reason that I needed to own it at that time, but now I do, because I was looking for some place to put this. And what this is called farm dairy, and it's a production. And sorry, I should have looked up who the modder was, but it made sense to put it up here uh, rather than down at one of the farms because we already have a dairy facility, and it does everything the standard dairy does, but has an additional item. If we take a look here at productions and we go down to the farm dairy, you can see it does butter, cheese, chocolate, but it also does raw milk. And that raw milk gets sold directly. There's no sell point. We don't, none of it gets spawned. It's just sold as it's produced, and it's at a premium price. Um, the other thing that we should look at while we're in here, when we put a custom production on the map, and I'm going to apply it to all the productions, even the map productions, we have to make every recipe, and we have to make enough product to fill the outgoing bar. So I've got it on distributing just to show that we're not going to have any trouble at all filling up that outgoing product bar. I've only had it on the go for, I think I put it in about mid-month if I recall. So you can see that's half a month, so probably in within 3 months for sure, as long as we keep it full of milk, which is not going to be a problem, we'll fill up each of those bars. And that holds true the same for our dairy here. um, you can see it's been going a little bit longer. It is a little bit slower, uh, but if we take a look over here, you can see we have a bunch of products sitting in the spawn area already from that replaces a product we had on the other map. So we already have what, 1, 2, 3 more butter, another chocolate, and a cheese. So if we add that to here, you can see again, as long as we keep it full of milk, absolutely not going to have any trouble filling the outgoing product bar. So really, we could just put those onto storing and sell them anytime. Um, Not going to be an issue there. That actually holds true. If we take a look, you can see our fabric one is almost like 30% full already. Um, Same with our fertilizer one. I've sold fertilizer now 2 months, so it makes the same amount every month because we have the same amount of digestate. So in the course of 3 years, you can see we're absolutely going to make enough to fill that bar up. So there, we have no concerns on any of our productions that way. Now, one last thing I'll mention, there is a cheaty version of this dairy. And after I had put this in, I thought, I should have put the cheaty one in. I have never used it. I always go for this, the non-cheaty one, and it's already a little bit faster than the standard dairy. But on this map, we certainly have the milk production that we could put the cheaty one in. So at some point, I may actually upgrade this. I'll throw it down maybe on a test map and make sure it's, we're going to be able to satisfy the output requirements, which I can't see it being an issue. But we might upgrade this to the cheaty one. Looks just like this, but is just faster yet. Because you'll see when you talk to future farmer Murphy, milk is not a problem for us here on the farm. All right, so I think that's everything I wanted to talk about up here. So I will head down to the pig farm and we'll see what's going on down there. So we'll see you there. All right, we're here at the pig farm and we have a couple of things to talk about down here. The first most obvious one is that temporary silo is gone. Now, I continued doing silage contracts and selling the loose silage and keeping the bales. I discovered that I really didn't need to go as hard at the contracts as what I had been doing. I did go pretty hard at them for a couple days, and then I just switched back to doing one silage contract a day to top up the BGA and sell off the loose stuff to complete the contract and keep the bales. So at the end of the month, I still had 1,000,000 liters of silage in there, I should say, and I moved that over to our cow farm. I actually started moving it kind of mid-month, a little bit at a time, so I didn't have to do it all at once. And then I sold the silo and got rid of it. Now, I took the money out we received for selling it. We got just under 50,000. And for those of you who may not be aware, all you do on console is what I did is I simply went in, and because I needed to get rid of just about 50 grand, I went and leased this. You can see it's 43,000. And then I leased a medium tractor to make up the remainder of it. And that's how I got the money out. So it's gone. The little bit of straw and silage that was left is over at the farm, the cow farm, I should say. And as I mentioned, I filled up our diesel container here. And I also added a repair point. I didn't put all the decorations in, but I thought it was crazy that the last few times I've been leaving the tractors down at the shop because it was the closest repair point. So I put in a repair point and filled up the fuel at all of the farms so I can repair and refuel at the closest farm location. As you can see, that's where our haying equipment happens to be sitting, right there at this farm, because it was close to where we finished up. I did add some lighting in around the farms too, that if you're ever on it dark, you may see these little lights on the posts and stuff, because it was pretty darn dark in here at night. So I put a little bit of lighting in. Now, on the pig front, I did add some more pigs, and I noticed something. If I go in here, see how many pigs this sucker holds? 2,000. I was pretty sure that was 500 on the other map. So yeah, I noticed that was a bit of a surprise. But I have added some more pigs. What I did is I added 5 full-grown female sows of each breed. I added 5 more female piglets of each breed, and then I added 5 male piglets of each breed. Now in the males, what we're going to do is when they reach about 6 months, from what I understand, is a good time to sell them off, and we'll sell the males off and we'll go and buy another batch, and whatever money we make, we'll just buy as many replacement piglets as we can to help grow the herd, because we got to get to 2,000. And of course, we'll have organic growth with our female pigs. The last thing to mention down here, the only change to equipment is I added this another old Massey Ferguson. Um, this is a 3000 series. It's Brower that made this mod. It's 120 horsepower. Now, it works really good down here in the flatlands, but it struggles when it goes up near the sheep farm. If it's got to take anything up that hill, I actually went and picked up the milk that the sheep had made up there, and I had about 30,000 liters already in the tanker. I was down to bull low and doing about 3 kilometers an hour up that hill. So it's still on the slate to get one of those small 200 horsepower vouchers for doing that kind of work. Um, this is just going to stay here and be used on the pigs and probably the cow farm across the way there when we get it. But the big tractor was busy and I needed something, and that was cheap. And I'll show you a sign at the other farm. I figured we needed a few more Massies kicking around anyway, so it is another nice old mod. Yeah, I think that brings us up to speed here. So off to the cow farm. Wow, you can see we have a large number of bales here. We actually have 101 bales. That replaces the bales that we had before we did the upgrade. And on top of that, as I mentioned, we have 1,000,000 liters of loose silage in our silo here. And that silage basically represents the extra silage from all the bale contracts or baling contracts we did for silage. Um, I put some lighting in here as well, and I also, as I said, put in a workshop so we can repair our vehicles down here as well. One thing I do need to make a correction on, I was saying I thought the cows were eating more. I tracked it for 24 hours and then did the calculations of how much feed they were going through and came up with the same number I had on the other map. So they are not. It just seems like it probably because I'm feeding in one location, feeding loose rather than bales, but they are actually consuming the same amount of feed that they were on the other map. So I wanted to make a correction there. But we are getting a pile of milk. As you'll see when future farmer Murphy goes over his numbers here in a minute, we sold a pile of milk. And so we're actually at the place, if that milk production continues, and I don't see why it wouldn't, with the milk revenue, the biogas revenue, and the fertilizer revenue, I don't see any reason why we need to do contracts for money anymore. We should be making enough from the farms now that if we do any contracts, it's just to shore up hay or silage needs if we have to. So that's a bit of a relief. So that'll cut down the amount of time in between episodes for off-camera work from myself. Okay, I think that brings us up to speed here. That's all that was changes. We are up to about 200,000 liters of slurry here in our tank now. And we'll be throwing all of that on the grass field. I'll empty it right out and put it on all our grass fields that we mow here. And I guess that's a pretty good segue into what are we going to do next? Oh, no, I can't forget about the big item. I forgot about it. We need to take a look at the map. Just hang on. How I could forget about this, I don't know. But if we take a look at the land we own, it has increased a fair little bit. Um, I have added, let me see, field 168, 183, 184, and 160. Now, I'll tell you a little story. I can't remember which one, but there was a content creator and they had to go away for work or something. And in one of their episodes, they said, but they actually, while they were away, they wrote a couple episodes. Uh, and I thought, holy cow, they actually write down what they're going to do in their episodes. Well, this is a much more fly by the seat of the pants operation around here. So I had purchased was 184 and 168, and as I said I was going to, and I had my teeth stuck out. I was pretty happy with myself. I thought I was getting ahead of a curve on these crops we had to put in. And then, I was thinking about things, as I often do when I'm busy working in the fields. Got looking at the crop calendar, and I came to a startling realization that we need to plant all 10 of these crops and harvest them. And I was thinking I had 3 seasons to do that. I do not, because any crops I plant in the spring of season 5, would have to have them harvested by August, which is not likely. So that caused a little bit of panic. So that's why I bought these 2 additional fields. So what we have here is I I bought, what was this one? 182 was actually a grass field, and I plowed it out and I put alfalfa in there. So that's an alfalfa field, and I may leave that as alfalfa. I need to do some testing. From what I understand, the one little video I did see is you get the same yield from alfalfa as grass, so we can make alfalfa hay, but it takes twice as long to grow. And I don't know if our sheep will eat alfalfa hay. So that field might get, although it's used as arable right now, might get turned back to a grass field. We'll see. So there's alfalfa in there. This is linseed I put over here. 168 is clover. And then 184 is millet. It turned out there were actually 4 of the new crops we could plant in October. Or no, rye, sorry, not millet, it was rye. So we've got rye, alfalfa, clover, and linseed that I'll tick off the list, and they're all in there. So that leaves us 2 more planting windows. Spring of next, well, yeah, it will be spring of next year and the following year. So we'll have to do 3 crops each, and then we'll have all 10 done. But yeah, just dumb luck actually that I caught up with that, or we could have been in panic mode. Yeah, so the farm increased in size quite a bit. That's where all the money went this last month, was buying those fields. So I think I'll turn you over now to future farmer Murphy, and then when we come back, we'll talk about what we're going to do this month. So catch up with you in a minute. Thank you, past farmer Murphy. So we're up to a total of 31 completed contracts since the map update. In October, we had 112,000 in contract income. We sold bales and loose silage for a total of 127,000. The reason that number is up, I did do some haying contracts just for the money, where I sold all the extra hay, but I delivered a whole trailer load of silage to the wrong sell point and sold a whole trailer load of silage because I wasn't paying attention. So that helped drive that number up. We produced a total of 200 bales now, and keep in mind those are now 25,000 liter bales. We sold 261,734 euros worth of milk. And the reason that number is up is I had put some milk in our tanker apparently in September and forgot to sell it. So we had, I think it was about 20,000 liters of milk sitting in there that actually was from September. And we didn't sell any of our fertilizer or other products from our productions. We just carried that all over. So our balance at the end of the month was 153,000. And keep in mind also that our BGA generates 200,000 each month. So that's our update for October. So I'll turn you back over to past Farmer Murphy. Okay. Well, thank you, future Farmer Murphy. We are just across the river here from our cow farm. That's our cow farm we see across the way here. And you can see this is one of our grass fields, and it is ready to be cut. And we are going to cut all of our grass fields. You'll see like this one here, actually it's even ready to harvest. Let's take a look. Oh don't have field info on. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it is. It's the first stage of harvest, and you can see the difference. This is the second stage. But we're going to cut every single grass field we have because there's no advantage to leaving this. It's going to get all set back in the wintertime. So although we won't get full yield, it's, you know, something's better than nothing. And all of that is extra silage. Like I said, we have enough silage bales to get us through the winter. We have that loose silage, about 1,000,000 liters available to us, and we'll have all of this as silage. Now, my plan is to hang on to most of that. May need to sell a little bit, um, depending on how our winter project goes here. But my hope is to keep most of it and have it as a head start on next year. Because if all goes well, I want to get that other cow farm, and we need to buy some additional cattle. So I really do want to shoot for the 1,500 head. Now, this little, I'm not sure how we get in here. I think it's up here. This little area of trees off to our right is our winter project. There is a sawmill on the map, and so we need to buy that. And of course, we need to throw some wood in there. Now, this is the only woodland we currently own. It isn't a big patch. Like I said, it used to extend, if I turn here, across the road and out behind that house, well, all the way back to the trees you can see off in the distance there by that's the animal dealer you see just kind of through the trees. But they got taken out with the update and shared between these two fields. So we lost some trees. But what I want to do is we're going to turn this into a bit of a production area. I am going to lease a tree harvester, and we'll cut out all of these harvestable trees and obviously get rid of the stumps, and we're going to turn this into a production area. And what we're going to do is we're going to put some greenhouses in here because our spinnery needs cotton, and we are not going to plant cotton, and we are going to grow it in a greenhouse. And as it turns out, that is actually a done thing in the UK. So it's not even cheating. So we're going to put a greenhouse in here to grow cotton. We are also going to put a pig food production, and we're going to put a potato and sugar beet production in here to help with our pig food. So I need to get rid of these trees, and so we can get all that done. And these ones here that are not cuttable, I think I'm just going to leave because they're right here on the edge, and we'll have more than enough land, I think, to do what we need to do. So we'll leave those decorative ones here. But the previous version of the map, there wasn't a lot of area we could put productions on, and that's what this area here was earmarked for. So I'm going to carry on with that. There is a little bit of an area at the spinnery that we could put productions in, but I don't think there's quite enough room. So I'm going to go ahead and get some forestry equipment leased, and I'll bring it here, and I'll bring you back in. So we'll catch up with you then. When I was down here, I meant to show you this sign on the post here at the cow farm. It says this farm uses the Ferguson system. So that's when I said earlier I thought we needed a few more Massey Fergusons around. That's because I noticed this sign there. But I just came down here to grab the telehandler to take it to the shop. I'll meet you at the shop, and I'll show you everything we got gathered up there. So see you in just a second. Well, here we have our arsenal of forestry equipment. Start off with, I went with Rotner, same one I'm using on Silver Run, just because the controls are just a tad bit different than some of the other harvesters, and just don't need any confusion in my life, so went with that one. It does work good, and it does cut those larger trees too. Lease that, obviously. We're going to use the big bag lifter to load our logs. Cheaty, yes, I know, but I don't need to spend any more time than necessary on this map. We're up to 240 hours total on this challenge. I am enjoying it, but it does need to come to an end at some point. So, cheaty log lifter, using the tree begon for a stump grinder. There is the one I use on Silver Run that I really like, but it needs a skid steer, so I didn't want to lease a skid steer as well. So that one just goes on the 3-point of the tractor, works pretty good. And this is one of our trailers that I've just reconfigured for logging. I figure we should be able to haul about 6-meter logs on there. So I'll get all this transported to our little logging area and we'll get cracking at it. So catch up with you in a second. Well, our equipment's all down here. I think we're all ready to do some harvesting. Tree harvesting, that is. Now, my original plan, when I was thinking about this episode, was I was going to get all these trees cut down and this production area all built up. Yeah, okay. Oops, there seems to be a tractor there. I don't think we want to put this through the windshield of that. Let's swing it this way a little bit if we can. There's some fancy maneuvering. Yeah, there's not a chance. It just, those updates always take longer than what I think they're going to, just because we've always seemed to have so much going on. Well, we're edging ever closer to our glass. Will we be making an insurance claim? We made her. Now, I've got it set to 6 meters. I think we should be able to grab one of these, hopefully by hand, so we can just, that one maybe? That one? Is that full length one? Pretty close, yeah. We'll just check and see if it's going to go on our trailer here. Oh yeah, just about perfect, I'd say. Yeah, so I think all we're going to be able to do is show some logging, and I'll have to get all this built up off camera. So I'm going to get all the trees cut here first, because obviously this is our most costly item to lease. A little bit. I do want to leave the stumps fairly high and obvious so that I don't have any trouble finding them to grind them out. I'm not planning on doing any contracts this month. I really think we should have enough farm income. That's my hope anyways. And it's not that there isn't any contracts. If we take a look here in just a second, I'm sure there's piles of them. I haven't looked today, but there was lots last night. Oh yeah, look. Just scads of them. All baling. But I just don't, we don't need any of the surplus crop, and we don't need the money, I don't think. So we're just going to concentrate on our home fields. We are going to have to buy some straw. Excuse me, coughing fit. We are going to have to buy some straw though. We're down to about 60,000 liters in our silos, so that won't even get us through the month. But we only need, oh come on. The more I try and swing it out of the way, the more in the way it gets. Oops. Well, that's going to be fun to pick up. Apparently, texting and driving is an issue for some folks. Talking and logging is an issue for me. Oh, did I run into the stump? Sure I did. Yeah, no, I totally forgot what I was talking about. I mentioned the straw. Oh, we only need 7,000 liters of manure a month, or 7,000 to 8,000. So what I'll do is I'll just buy enough straw that we can make that much manure every month once our straw runs out. We have a pile of manure there that will last approximately 10 days. So a little more than a month. So we've got all our grass fields to do, as I was mentioning. We need to cut them, lime them, mulch them, fertilize them. We need to fertilize our new fields that we just planted. So that'll certainly keep us busy. And of course I've got this production area to put in. It's not going to be anything too elaborate, but there are going to be a few greenhouses. We need some cotton, and we're going to do that in a greenhouse. And interestingly enough, that is actually a done thing, as I found out in the UK. They actually do grow cotton in greenhouses. And we're going to put some in to support our pig food production. Now the pig food production I'm going to use, I haven't used it for specifically pig food, but I thought it would work good when we had 500 pigs. 2,000 pigs, I think it's going to fall a little short, but it has some other benefits that we will talk about once I get it in, and we'll just put the other rock products into the trough, make up whatever we're missing when we get some more pigs. Oops, hooked on something there. But anyways, yeah, these stumps are handy. That's what we're going to be up to. But we are, so like I said, we are out of time. Hopefully you don't mind this format. I know there isn't as much farming, but I kind of said from this, oops, I'm getting this one around there. Oh, I made a train wreck out of that one. That would be kind of how these would go. And now that we're, we are going to reach a maintenance point where there isn't as much new stuff going on every month to report. But I better sign off out of here because it's going to be getting too long. So if you're still with me, really appreciate you watching. If you found it entertaining or informative anyway, I encourage you to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to see when other content like this lands, hit that old notification bell. But for this episode here on BallySpring, it's Farmer Murphy signing off.